Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland, and tonight we're going to cover a couple of topics within tonight's video. One being what just might well be the live event to get tickets for in the year 2023, as well as what live events to avoid. And there's some very specific reasonings that I'll provide for that within the context of this video. But first of all and foremost, we're going to cover Metallica's brand new album, 72 Seasons, because folks, as it has always been so, Metallica is as Metallica does. All right, so first of all, before we get into the album proper here, what I wanted to do is make an observation. The year was 2020. Most of us were holed up at home, weren't we? And so were many of these rock stars. And yet, how many of these rock stars during that time, that shutdown period of time, actually decided to start writing and recording music for when we got past that difficult period? Not very many, just a handful, and guess what? Metallica was one of them. And brother, they were busy. I can say that very easily without even bringing up anything about this album. First of all, this album is 117 minutes long, perfect for the digital domain. Now, as many of you know, I've criticized artists for not fully embracing what the digital domain has to offer. And of course, I've talked about how they need to take a multimedia approach to whatever they're releasing, and thus not releasing just an album at a time, but a whole multimedia experience. And just on the time alone on this album, we see that this is the beginnings of fully embracing what the digital domain has to offer on several levels. Now, another thing, as you guys know, I've criticized artists for no longer reaching for greatness. You know, bands like U2, who offer us as their latest album, old, tired re-recordings of truly great music, and it demeans them as a band, as far as I'm concerned. So what do I mean about reaching out for greatness? Well, first of all, keep recording new music, keep writing new music. Offer us as many outings as you possibly can. And when you do release those brand new albums, please give us something that you haven't quite given us before. And we're going to talk about whether Metallica's 72 Seasons is an also-ran, or is it a classic rock album? Or does it lie somewhere in between? All right, so like I said, it's a long album. It's about 117 minutes long, offering us 12 tracks, which leads us to the very first track. Actually, the title track. The song, 72 Seasons. You know, I really don't quite know what to say about this song other than it's Metallica, it's new, it's got a zillion changes in it, it keeps you guessing from the opening second to the conclusion of the song, it's got melody, brother, it's got it all. There's so many changes and twists and turns, rhythmic changes, chordal changes to this song. It keeps you guessing from the very first second you listen to it to the conclusion of the song. And it's got melody, and it's got balls. And all I can say is this is either good news for the rest of the album or bad news. Is this just merely that great one track like so many bands put out these days, and the rest of the album nothing more than filler? Well, if this album has filler material on it, it doesn't start with track 2. That's all I can say. Shadows Fall. Oh man, again, a trillion changes in this song, yet different from what we heard with the first track. And when you get to the portion where Metallica sings seething, breathing, Nightmare Grows, the song changes. That's one of the best melodies that I've ever heard in heavy metal. When Metallica gets to this portion of the song, it shows you that they really can be masters of the melody and know when to bring it in and when to almost drone at times. I love this track, 2 for 2. Okay, that leads us to track 3. The track is entitled Screaming Suicide. You know what? This is where the band needed to change on this album. They needed to dislocate from the power of the first 2 tracks, and they do it perfectly on this song. So perfectly, in fact, that it almost sonically invites you to relax. This just might be a great album after all. And those lyrics, man, the just most thought-provoking lyrics I've ever seen on record, and exactly what I've come to expect from a classic rock outfit. And I have always considered Metallica part of that classic rock genre, one of the subgenres of classic rock, but definitely classic rock nevertheless. Which leads us to track 4, Sleepwalk My Life Away. Oh, talk about lyrics. All I can say, James, is I've been there before myself. Another song with just enough changes from those first 2 powerful songs we mentioned before to really get the listener to start enjoying this album. So with a hat trick plus 1, which constitutes 1/3 of this album already, this is a hit, folks. All right, next track up, You Must Burn, and my favorite lyrics on the album. This is becoming a lyrics album to me. I can't believe that. But you know what? On this song, James Hetfield really explores some things. I think. I don't know what his political bent or his spiritual bents are. I've never been that interested in the man's personal life. But I gotta tell you, what you get here is how there's almost a new order out there these days. And they're trying to rewrite history, folks. And they not only want to rewrite history, they want to obliterate it and teach you the new history. Buyer beware, baby. All right, track 6, we're about halfway through the album now, Lux Eterna. You know what? This is the shortest song on the album. Direct, to the point. I love it. All of you've probably already heard it. It's a great song. As far as those criticisms of Kirk's solo here, the solo is perfect. He played it for the freaking song. So don't listen to those critics. They don't have a clue about music theory and what it takes to put out, well, a successful form of music anyway. All right, so the next track, Crown of Barbed Wire. And I've got to say, 72 Seasons and this cut are probably my 2 favorite cuts on this album. Not to say that the other cuts are far behind so far. With this song, again, it's the lyrics that raise it to another level. I mean, this song is almost the one-eyed man rules in the kingdom of the blind kind of motif, with an obvious twist and turn from that motif. Love it. Which leads us to the song Chasing Light, and so far, in my opinion, the weakest cut on the album, and I'll tell you why. Lyrically, it seems to limp on 2 opinions, and musically, it seems to do the very same thing. Now, maybe that's purposeful. Maybe I've missed something here. If that's true, and you've got a theory on that, I really want to hear it in the comments, but so far, this is my least favorite cut on the album. Is it a bad cut? No, not at all. It's quite a listen, but it doesn't quite offer what we've heard before so far. Next up, a brand new favorite, tied for first place, If Darkness Had a Sun. Oh, the lyrics in this. And it's one word in the lyrics that keeps you on point. Temptation. And with that in mind, aren't we all, at our weakest moments, all sons and daughters of darkness? This is a song for the masses, people. I love this song. After a slight dip, we're back on track for this album. But you know, it's track 10, the very next song. It's almost like part B to this song. and syncopation abounds. And I gotta tell you, you almost have to take these two songs. This would be the perfect single, you know, if Darkness Had a Son, side A, and then this cut on side B. And so, in my opinion, another winner for this album. You know, track 11, Room of Mirrors, is another track on this album that vies for the first place. Here in this song, we see the individual trapped in a room of mirrors. And I'm going to tell you why that's so provocative. You see, we live in a world where a lot of people haven't taken the time to truly look at themselves in a mirror. And I think that's what James is getting at with this song. There is almost a mass refusal to really truly look at yourself these days. And so that individual representing that group is trapped in a room of mirrors. They have no choice but to look at themselves, perhaps for the very first time. And often when we do so, folks, I know when I have, you don't like what's staring back at you, do you? All right, so that leads us to the final track on the album, Inamorata. Now, this is another cut that I think is about tied for the weakest cut on the album, but it's where it's placed that really bothers me. You see, if they had just made this an 11-cut album, with that last one, oh, you would immediately replay this album. But here, this song, it's not a bad song, just like the other cut I mentioned. Either one of them is fine. But placing this song here, this should have been placed way deeper on the album if they insisted on including this. Because you know what, folks? Today, especially in the digital domain, the two most important positions on an album is the first track and the last track. Back when there were LPs, it would be the first and last cut on side A and a first and last cut on side B. This was a secret weapon and well known to work in the music industry, and why Metallica left the album off with this one, I don't know. But maybe you guys disagree with me. Maybe you guys think this is a trash album. I don't know. I loved it. And I want to hear what you have to say about that. All right, so I did say I was going to talk about a particular live event that very well could be, in my opinion, the #1 live event to look forward to this year, 2023. And of course, I'm talking about the Power Trip Festival. Now, the Power Trip Festival will have Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, I thought that guy was retired, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, and Tool. Sure, you gotta put up with Guns N' Roses. They could delete that band and I'd be happy. But no one festival is without its faults. At least they haven't, at least so far, added Motley Tool Shed to that list, so there's a blessing. Now, why am I so hot about all of this? Well, for one thing, Metallica's got a brand new album out. And what about Ozzy's brand new album that really hasn't seen the light of day in a tour? Isn't that wonderful? There's rumors that Greta Van Fleet will be there, and if that's true, they've got a brand new album coming out. Fire Guns N' Roses, bring Def Leppard into the event. They have a recent album out. Are you catching my drift, folks? Yes, we need live events with artists with brand new releases and not playing the backing tracks, okay? And not doing business through Ticketmaster. Okay, I can't have everything I want on my Christmas list, Santa, but it really pisses me off sometimes. Okay, so folks, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. I always am so thankful for that. You know, that sends the video to a wider audience. It winds up on people's home pages who have never heard of the channel. When that happens, then the channel grows. And the channel is the tribe. So therefore, the tribe grows. Now, why is that important? Because it is the discussion that the tribe creates in the comments section. By the way, if you are a viewer who has not subscribed to the channel as of yet, and I know I have many of those kind of people, Listen, you'd really help the channel out by subscribing to it, okay? It's free of charge. You don't have to do anything other than hit that subscribe to the tribe button and tap that top bell notification, and you'll be notified of all my future videos as they come out, not just the ones that appear on your home page, because that one video they think you might like. All right, so I'm Michael Nolan. This is The Bottom Line. The bottom line, at least as I see it. And together, folks, you and I become that tribe we were talking about. And so all I can say is we are the tribe. And I'll see you in my next video.